Hey, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's going on? So this video is a response video to street harassment, sidewalk sleazebags, and metro molesters. And so I have a fine young lady here with me.
Hi.
What's going on? So we're going to be playing the videos audio. And so we're going to be playing the videos audio. We're going to stop it, discuss it, and, you know, make that happen. All right, so let's...
And let you know our opinions about it.
All right, so let's start with this.
It's constant, it's inescapable, it's hard to get away from.
You know, your general whistles, cat calls, tss, tss, hey, you know, that kind of stuff.
I've been harassed by white men and black men and Latino men and Asian men.
We have right to walk on the street peacefully without being disturbed.
It absolutely speaks to a power dynamic that is askew in this society.
I want a diamond ring, I want some bracelets and everything.
Catcalling is an all-American pastime.
Hey, it's my sweetheart. You're looking good, baby. Good enough to eat.
I remember songs from the 50s and 60s that I've seen archived, you know, standing on the corner, watching all the girls go by.
The girl can't help it. The girl can't help it. She was born.
Right, let me stop it there real quick. Okay, so in the video, what happened is they had some actor guy, you know, act as a construction worker and say, hey, baby, how you doing? All this other stuff to over dramatize the whole catcalling thing. And also they're showing like an old video of some guy looking at a woman walking into a house. All right. So the thing with this whole like street harassment thing is that, you know, women are just upset or they get emotional about the fact that guys are talking to them or hollering at them and all this other good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what are your thoughts on that real quick before we move on? What?
I don't know. I feel like I'm not convinced that this is as big of an issue as they're making it. But as we get more into the video, I feel like we can share more about that.
All right, cool. So I'm going to keep it going. Let's go.
Harassment is about ownership. It's about the idea that women's bodies and very presence in public space is not for us. Because what are we there for, if not to shake that ass, baby?
Shake it, honey. Yeah!
And I often think men are...
All right, so... so women... So she said that it's about ownership. Men don't want to own you. We want if we're talking to you on the street or hollering at you or saying what's up or whatever, we're trying to talk to you so we can either get your number, to see you, to go on a date, to have sex with you, all these other stuff. So I don't understand where this ownership stuff comes in. You see what I'm saying? Or what's your thoughts on that? You have no thoughts on that? You just like...
I don't know. I'm still processing.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Aren't aware of how different it is for women to walk down the streets.
Okay, so now they got a girl with a hidden camera walking down the street where guys are catcalling her.
How you doing, sweetie?
So the guys are saying she's beautiful and hey, what's up, all that other good stuff.
I know the way I dress is kind of provocative, but it doesn't mean that I should have to deal with it.
Do I think...
All right, let me pause that there real quick. She said, I know the way I'm dressed is provocative, but that doesn't mean I have to deal with it. Now, this is the thing that's ridiculous to me because, you know, people they say that, you know, they'll say, well, it's no excuse if, you know, if a woman is dressed a certain way, that does not mean that a guy should be, you know, sweating her and doing this and doing that, right? But the thing is this, it's not necessarily that, you got to understand, it's a biological thing for men to be attracted to women and women's bodies. You understand what I'm saying? So if you are dressed, you know, or you're almost half naked or you got a short skirt on or you're showing some skin, men are going to look because it's natural. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's like me saying, that's like someone saying, well, you know, if somebody pulls a gun out in your face, that's no reason for you to get scared. It's going to be natural for me to get scared because that's a natural response for the gun being pulled on me. When you have a chick who's looking good, it's a natural response for a guy to want to see her.
So I guess what they're saying is that they feel like there's this misunderstanding that men see the way they're dressed as an invitation. So I guess it's more that there's a miscommunication, that a woman might be dressed provocatively. It doesn't mean that she wants to talk to you.
Right. But see, that's the thing though. Why is it that it's, you know, when does it come to a point where you have to accept the fact that this is what's going to happen? There's going to be men who's going to approach you and say something to you that you don't care to hear from. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be men that you don't want to talk to you. Like, but it's a natural progression of things because that's how it goes. You know what I mean? It's like if a guy says, well, you know, I don't like the fact that when I approach women or I talk to women, I get rejected. Tough. That's part of the process if you want things to go down.
Right.
And the thing is that I don't understand is that, fine, women don't want guys to, you know, approach them and all this other stuff. What are you going to do to replace that? Because is it, you know, when it comes to dating and relationships or people meeting, men are the one who are, you know, basically, you know, forced to do the approach because women don't do it. So
women dress provocatively,
right,
and hope that the guys they want to approach them do.
Exactly.
And then
See,
something nice happens.
Right. See, they want the ones that they want to approach them, but then the ones that don't approach them, the ones that do approach them that they don't like, that's really when they get mad because it's about they just didn't want this particular guy to approach them.
But I also feel like we're 2 minutes into, what is this, a 6-minute video?
Yeah.
And so far what I've seen doesn't really look like harassment. Like, I would consider harassment being if, you know, you've made it clear, I don't want you to do or say something, and then
you keep
and
doing
then
it.
someone keeps doing
Right.
it. Right? So if someone says, I don't know, says something to me on the street, and I turn around and I say, please don't say that to me, and I say it in a clear and polite way, then if they continue to do it, like excessively, then that's harassing.
Right.
On the other hand, if I'm walking down the street and someone says, I'm beautiful, or says hi to me, it's a compliment.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And I would also say that like the majority of the women that we're looking at on this video are very young, and this is what I was saying before. Maybe they just don't have as much life experience to appreciate male attention and know how to, know how to respond appropriately.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm in my 30s now. When men talk to me on the street, it's a compliment. And if I want them to stop, I can do it in a very polite, clear way.
Well, why would
it just doesn't bother me. Whereas if I walk down the street and nobody looked at me or noticed me, I might feel like, oh man, I need to go change. I need to look better.
But see, that's the point. It's funny because, you know, like I remember I was listening to a podcast of Tariq Nasheed, and then this feminist lady called in, and Tariq Nasheed was like, okay, well, how about all of us men just stop talking to you ladies?
Right.
And then the lady was like, oh, no, you don't have to do all that. See, it's like women want the attention, but then they don't want the attention. It's like you can't have it both ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? But let's continue.
But also, I would say, again, these women, I think they're very young. They probably just recently became women.
Now, some of them look old in this video.
I don't know. I'm saying, like, I feel like it's definitely confusing. If you looked like a girl and people on the street treated you like a girl, and then suddenly you look like a woman, it's confusing. Like, you know how when you're, for young women, having young men talk to their boobs, I don't know if you've heard about this, but like teenage boys will often talk to your boobs because it's just so new and intriguing. They have trouble looking at your eyes. And honestly, it's kind of cute. Like, they just, you know, it's just new and different.
No,
and
that's
I feel like
street harassment, okay?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I feel like these women are uncomfortable with it because it's new and different, this type of male attention.
Right.
Whereas what I'm saying is it's not a horrible thing. It's part of the process of men approaching women, women, you know, finding their place, finding, you know, what can I wear where I feel good and I feel sexy and I don't feel, I don't know, like I'm being harassed when people look at me. Because if you walk outside and you're wearing something that you feel really good about, but then you get this feedback and it's too much for you, go home, wear something a little more conservative, and, you know, and you'll feel okay, and you can gauge what you wear and where you go and how you feel.
They're going to say that you're blaming the victim and that guys should just not talk to women who, even though they're dressed half naked. You see what I'm saying? But that's the ridiculousness of it. Is that you got to understand you're living in real life, and in real life, if you dress a certain way, even if you could dress in a sweater and some sweatpants, and guys will still talk to you. So imagine if guys will still talk to you like that. Imagine if you're half naked. More guys are going to talk to you because you're half naked, and it's natural. That's what I'm trying to say.
And it's important. I mean, I feel like you said, if men were suddenly not allowed to notice or approach women, wow, that would be some amazing population control.
Exactly.
You know, because we would never, it would change things a lot, and I don't think it would be good.
Right. Well, let's continue with the video, though.
Women should be judged or harassed based on what they wear? Absolutely not. To me, that's a slippery slope that leads to the argument that girls who wear short skirts are asking for it.
I really admire the women that respond back on the street.
Go to hell.
All right, let's pause that. Okay, so the lady says she really admires women who talk back on the street, right? And this guy walks by the girl with the hidden camera, and he says, "Hey, sexy," and then she says, "Go to hell." This is where the problem is, man. This is where how is someone saying you're sexy? You're telling them to go to hell. Who's the rude one in that situation? Who's the disrespectful one in that situation? That's what I'm trying. That's the part that nobody wants to.
I think the idea is that it's rude and disrespectful to approach a stranger and call her a name.
A name, sexy is a name. Isn't sexy a compliment? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like he said, "Hey asshole," "Hey bitch,"
but
"Hey slut."
To her, she's responding like it's an insult.
Right, and my question is, why is that an insult?
There's a disconnect, because to him, this is a compliment. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe that he would like her to know that he thinks that she's sexy.
Right, but and
I think it's genuine, and maybe she'll respond positively, and they'll get to have sex.
Right, exactly. But
that would be lovely for him, and even nice for her, probably.
But see, you're thinking too logical, though.
But what's happened is, for a lot of these women, they perceive it as an insult, and so they're going to respond rudely back because they're perceiving it as an insult.
Right, and the question is, why do they perceive that as an insult? You see what I'm saying?
No, they just
How is someone saying that you're sexy? See, the thing is this, is that women will say, well, this happens every day. I get catcalled every day, and it's harassment and all this other stuff. But the thing is that, you know, like I said, with acceptance, you have to accept that this is how the real world works. And if we talk about harassment, and I said this, you know, in another post I did a while ago, is that, you know, because if you look up harassment in the dictionary, it says, you know, something like people bothering you or consistent, you know, being bothered and all this other stuff. So technically, if you want to use the harassment term, you could, but what it says though is that I could also use that and say, well, if I'm on the street and homeless people, because I get approached by homeless people at least, you know, like a couple times a day. So should I call a homeless guy an asshole or tell him to go to hell every time he's trying to ask for change? Or like one of those people who are doing the Save the Children stuff where you're walking down the street.
Like I'm being
right, because like you walk down the street and they're like, hey, can I stop you for a second? Can I tell you about this program? Can I do this and that? Every day you go walking down the street, there's somebody, you know, people doing that. So are they street harassing? Should they stop? Should I call them an asshole and tell them to go to hell?
And they're doing it consistently.
So where does it stop? You see what I'm saying?
Right, I guess the difference is it's more socially acceptable to be asking for your money than to be asking for your sex in public. Right?
I don't know. It's crazy. Well, let's move on. Let's keep going with the video. Hold on.
I feel like it goes back to something that I've heard you say before, that that society views sex as a dirty, inappropriate thing, you know, something that you shouldn't refer to in polite society, right? That, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, that's how that goes. But
I mean, something else that this one woman said is she feels like it's a slippery slope, and I feel like you have to be careful with that. Like, I don't, I mean, I haven't seen the whole video, but I feel like I don't want to promote women getting assaulted or women getting harassed.
That's different. That's a different story. Well, that's gonna come. Let's keep going because that's gonna come up in a second. Hold on.
Taking back of the power in the moment.
I wish more girls would come out of their shell and just tell somebody to shut the fuck up. Just do it.
Wait, let me pause that real quick. You see that?
Finish her.
You see. She's like, tell girls to shut the fuck up. I'm just saying. Just take note of that. Okay.
Wait, can we rewind?
No. Don't rewind it because it's gonna mess up the whole thing. I'm gonna just keep it going.
You'll feel way better.
Street harassment is almost like a gateway drug to other more serious forms of violence. The idea that women don't control their own bodies on the street is so connected to the culture that allows women to be sexually assaulted.
Wait, let's stop there real quick because this is where the video, because I watched this video once before we recorded it, but this is where the video takes a ridiculous turn because, you know, she said women are not in control of their bodies. While I'm watching the video, they show the video of the girl walking past the guys, one foot in front of the other, going along her way. When did these guys control her body? She's still walking. I don't see them, grabbing her up and telling her when to walk or where to go or how to smile or when to sit or when to stand. Where is this control happening? That's what I want to. That's why I don't understand. And you know, also this whole gateway drug to violence. This is the thing. You know, because I'm of the belief that, like, you know, everything is like connected and shit. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like the fact that even street harassment is an issue is a byproduct of the fact that men and women already have issues within relationships and all the other stuff, because, you know, there would be no quote unquote harassment if there was a more of a cordial connection between men and women communicating with each other.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? But the thing is,
talking about sex.
Right. But the thing is that when you try to connect, or when you try to correlate, like, you know, there's this like gateway thing to violence. You're on a slick way. You're trying to kind of make it seem as if, you know, this, you know, a guy just saying hi to you, or how are you, or you're beautiful, or you're sexy, or whatever. You're trying to make that seem as the same thing as a guy actually assaulting you, because this is two different. Harassment and assault are two different things. It's two different things.
Well,
So,
could we also say that compliments, harassment, and assault are all very different things.
Right, exactly.
And I think that there are a lot of men who would like to compliment, who would like to approach, who would like to, you know, have some positive connection with women that they see, who they think are beautiful and sexy. And I feel like it's not really fair to be accusing those men of harassment.
Right.
If they're not actually harassing you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I could understand if you feel like you're making it really clear that you don't want to talk to them. The problem is you have to make it clear every single time. You know what I mean? Because, let's be honest, there's someone that you would like to talk to.
Right.
And you, the woman, very unlikely to be the one to approach.
Right.
So if someone that you're interested in approaches you and tells you he thinks you're sexy, then it's not harassment.
Right.
Right. So it's going to be harassment if someone you don't want to talk to comes up to you and tries to connect with you, and you say, I don't want to connect. Thank you for the compliment. I'm just trying to go where I'm going.
Right.
And if he keeps doing it, this is tricky because a lot of women will play hard to get and in the end actually do want to talk to the guy.
Right.
So, I just want to say, just to be as clear and consistent as you can, and if you feel like you've said it 3 times and he's still persisting,
Right.
then you can say, I feel like you're harassing me, please stop. And that's probably enough.
Right.
Right? Who's going to come up to you a 4th time if you've said 3 times politely and then you say, I feel like you're harassing me, please stop. It's just, I think that's that's good enough.
Right.
Right?
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Like, that's what I'm saying with the context. And now they're trying to correlate, complimenting with harassment. Then they're trying to correlate harassment with assault. You see what I'm saying? Like they're talking about slippery slope. They're doing the slippery slope themselves. They're the ones that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But I think you and I would agree that sexual assault is something that we wouldn't promote.
Right.
We don't support.
Right. Exactly.
Women being assaulted.
Right.
And I feel like I'm guessing because I don't have a lot of personal experience with this, but I feel like it happens from men that don't have the best social skills.
What's happening with men that don't have the social
Well,
skills?
if you're I think that men that will harass a woman and not pick up on her I don't want to talk to you signals, I think that they already have some social disconnect, like that it's harder for them to read.
But also too, but also too, you gotta understand is that it goes both ways. Because yes, there's times where social cues can tell you like, well, this woman doesn't really want to talk to me. Yeah. But then also there are times where the woman, like you said, the woman will act like that, but really wants to get talked to. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I said everything's connected. So it's like a thing on a woman's part to be very vocal and verbal. Just generally women about like how they feel, or how to communicate. When you talking about social, being social or whatever, and having a lack of social skills, it's both, because telling a guy to go to hell and shut the fuck up, that's not, you know what I'm saying? That's not good social skills. And for a woman to be, telling a guy, hey, I'm trying to really get where I'm going, blah, 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 blah. And then he keeps like going and going after it's like obvious through her body language and whatever it is, that's bad social skills on his part. Right. You see what I'm saying?
And that's called harassment.
Right.
And you can call him out on it.
Right. But
a lot of the time men will stop.
Right. But
I feel like I've actually never gotten to that point where I was like, now you're harassing me.
But also,
but if I did,
but also too, there's a thing to be said about conversation, because like, let's say I'm talking to you and you say, hey, I don't want to talk right now, and if I say, why? How come? Is that harassment, or am I having a conversation with you? You see what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like if I've said I really don't want to talk,
and I'm like, why? How come?
And that's happened to me, and I'll just be like, I'm sorry, I'm being honest.
But why not?
I don't want to talk. It's just I don't want to.
Do you know why?
I do, but I don't really want to
what I'm saying
discuss
is that am I harassing you at this point? That's what I'm trying to say. It's tricky because we're just having a conversation. It's not like you said.
But you're being persistent.
No, but that's
and
what
now I've said 3
right.
times.
So am I being persistent or am I harassing you? Do you see what I'm saying? It's that's what I'm saying, because you can if harassment to me would be if I said, hey, I like your shorts. And then you say, I don't want you to comment on my shorts. And I'm like, hey, I like your shorts. I don't want you to comment on my shorts. Hey, I like your shorts.
Right.
That's harassment, because you obviously said I don't like your shorts. But if I say, hey, I like your shorts, and you say, I don't want you to comment on my shorts, say, why wouldn't you want me to comment on your shorts? I'm having a conversation with you, am I not?
Right. So you're not commenting on my shorts anymore.
I'm commenting on why you don't want me to comment.
But on the other hand, if I've said I don't want to talk, and then you try to engage me by asking me about why, then it is more like harassment, because I said I don't want to talk. I didn't say I don't want to talk I don't want you to comment on my shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're asking me about that feeling I'm having. It's that I said, I don't want to talk. And then you've persisted. And I guess what I'm saying is, I'm saying I don't have a lot of experience with it because I do tend to be clear. I know how to use like a neutral facial expression to help communicate what I'm trying to say, which helps. But I've definitely, I mean, do you call it assault if someone tries to, like, force himself on you? Because that has happened to me.
What, somebody tried to grab you up?
And I kicked hard.
Right, and but that's what I'm saying.
But there was, I have
different.
to say, in retrospect, I think that he was not reading my social cues. He wasn't understanding what I meant. He thought I was being evasive. Maybe he thought I was being, I don't know. I think that he misread.
Right, but that's different than someone saying, "How are you? Hi, sexy." That's different than somebody grabbing you. You see what I'm saying?
The problem is, I think that it starts somewhere.
What starts somewhere?
It starts, like, if a situation is going to escalate to being harassed or escalate to being assaulted, it starts somewhere.
No, but
and
that's
I
what
could picture it. I mean, where do you think it starts? It sounds to me like these women feel like it starts.
But see, that's the thing. You can't do that though, because it does. But that's what I'm saying. Because you can. This is what I'm saying. You can't say that. Oh well. It's because you could argue and say, well, it started because she told me to go to hell. You see what I'm saying? Because he said, "Hi, sexy, go to." She says, "Go to hell." So you can have an argument and say, well, it's starting because you're being negative in this situation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And then the guy's like, what? And then he goes up to you and grabs like, what the fuck you say? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, there's a difference between the actual just saying of something and talking, which you know they claim is street harassment, but then trying to correlate it to this assault. But let's keep going because this is when they're going to get into the part of the video.
I've lived in Washington, D.C. now for 10 years, and I've been assaulted 3 times. My name is Jennifer Corey. In 2009, I was crowned Miss District of Columbia. I went on to compete in the Miss America pageant in Las Vegas, finishing in the top 10. My platform became street harassment to fight against sexual harassment of women in public places.
I just want to stop real quick because I want you to notice how when I started the audio, she said, I've been assaulted 3 times. The beginning of this video or the basis of this video was about street harassment. And notice how we got into assault now. I just want you to notice that.
What they're trying to say is that there's a connection.
But see, that's the thing. You can't do that all the time because when you do that, what you're doing now is that you're giving an excuse as to say, well, what you're doing, you saying hi to me in the street is wrong because I'm going to get killed. That's what you're trying to say. You're connecting those two things. When you have to be, because if you say, well, let's talk about assault and women being assaulted, fine, let's do that and let's stand behind that and not have women be assaulted.
But this woman said that she made it her platform because I need to see more, but she said, I've been assaulted 3 times.
Right.
And I've made it like, I think she's on my platform to fight against street harassment. So
right.
She, a person who's been assaulted 3 times, feels like street harassment is
to blame for her assault.
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. Let's keep going.
He says, really just trying to make the streets of Washington, D.C. safer. I was assaulted last year on the Metro coming back from work. I got on the Metro, and just as the doors were closing, a man came up behind me and shoved me into the car. And the doors closed behind him, so now I was stuck in the car, couldn't move, I couldn't really turn, I couldn't see anybody. And slowly, I started to feel something touching me from behind. I could still feel the pressure more and more building pushing into behind me. And I knew what it was. I just didn't want to admit I knew what it was. And at one point, I just started to panic, and I turned my body a little bit, and I could see that he had his hand in his pants. And I couldn't get that image out of my head, and I just started to dart my eyes around, looking, like, silently screaming for anybody to help me. So when we got to the Pentagon stop, the doors opened, and I jumped out of the car, and he followed me out. And I just stood there frozen, and we locked eyes, and he just kept walking and just gave me this deep, terrifying stare that chilled me all the way to my bone. And he went up the escalator, and I jumped back on the metro before the doors closed. And I just immediately started crying. All I was thinking was, like, I should have known what to do. This is what I do. This is what I advocate for. This is what I tell women all the time about what to do in these situations, and I had no idea what to do.
Let me pause that for a second.
Searched social media and found that Jen wasn't alone in her experience on public transportation.
All right, that's the caption they put on there. But let me stop that real quick, because this is what I'm talking about. You can't. First of all, when they talk about this gateway thing, oh well, street harassment is a gateway for dudes pushing you in a car and jerking off. No, it's too totally. It's like, okay, that's like me saying, if I step on a roach, that's a gateway for me to be a serial killer. Because I killed a roach, that means I'm going to end up killing a whole family of 10 people. No, you can't.
I think the idea is that society needs to be less accepting of this attitude towards women. I guess it's the idea.
Of what attitude?
Well, I guess maybe what she's trying to say is that my body is not your masturbation tool, and that it's very what is a bigger word for uncomfortable? It's inappropriate,
right? But
for a man to be pressed up against her without her consent,
right?
Masturbating.
And I agree. But
what a horrible experience.
My question is, how do we get here? From the guy.
So the idea is,
go ahead.
Someone you don't know, treating you and your body like something that he can approach like that.
Right, but my point is, how are we getting there from a guy pushing her into a train car, rubbing up against her and jerking off or whatever the hell he's doing, to some woman walking in the street and she passes a guy and he says, "Hi, beautiful."
Right, it's a very different situation.
That's what I'm saying. It's two different situations,
yeah.
And then they put in this one video, and they're trying to mesh it together to demonize the whole thing. Because if we want to talk about women being assaulted, yes, I'm all for do not assault women, do not push them in train cars, do not touch them and punch them and grab their ass and all this other stuff. Don't do that. We're not. No man is advocating for that shit. But when you try to correlate it to a guy just trying to say hello to you in the street. And make it, and then you have the right to say, well, go to hell and shut the fuck up. You understand? That's when it's a problem. Because you didn't need to talk about street harassment to talk about assault. But you're trying to fight. But the way that I say, everything is connected, you can still try to connect the dots where you don't necessarily need to be connecting it in those in those certain situations.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
And the trouble is, I feel like with this kind of story, it really is upsetting. Like, I feel upset about it.
Right.
It reminds me of experiences I've had that were similar.
Right.
On the New York subway.
Right.
In
and
the
the thing
last
is,
year that happened to me.
And that's what I'm saying.
Something
I'm like
very similar. And it was really a terrible experience.
Right. And that's the thing. I'm saying, let's talk about the
actual issue.
The actual issue. If the actual issue is assault, let's talk about assault, not talk about some guy trying to kick it to you on the street to get your number. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
right, because that's an appropriate way,
right,
to approach a woman.
Exactly.
Whereas touching a stranger,
right, exactly,
pressing your body up against her is not an appropriate way.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
So I agree. I think they're two completely different things. The one connection they're making is that it's a stranger, but I think you're right. I think that. I guess what's happened is the people making this video actually believe that there's a connection.
Right.
And I think that someone needs to explain to them that it really is not the same thing.
Right.
That a man who is going to assault women, I mean, this guy, and the same with the situation I had on the subway, he didn't say anything to her. He pressed himself up against her. It was exciting for him, and he clearly had some social issues. I don't know what his deal was, but normal people, normal men, don't do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Right?
And
whereas normal men that respect women and would, I mean, I feel like if we went and interviewed all the guys in this video that said, hey, sexy, hey, beautiful, I don't think any of them would say it's an appropriate way to approach a woman by shoving your body up against her and masturbating.
Right.
In a subway.
But that's what I'm saying.
I don't think any of them would say
they're trying to correlate the two together, and it's not
I might
right.
be
because
wrong.
No, but that's the thing.
But you and I think that it's not like
no,
that.
I know it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and they're trying to say it is.
Right. That's like me saying, well, I'm making a video about, women who use men for their money or something, or like some shit like that or whatever. Right. And I say, I went out on a date and this girl just wanted me to pay for this or pay for that. And then next thing you know, I'm like, oh, and by the midway of the video, I'm like, oh, and you know what happened? I was with this girl, and then she poked holes in my condom, and then I got pregnant, and then what happened was that she would show up, right, okay. And then then also what happened was she showed up to my job unannounced,
right, so
and then she started stalking me, and then this is why you shouldn't take girls out on dates, because they'll end up stalking you and doing all, like, where is that
right,
like,
so
how is all this shit coming from?
I agree. So similarly, many women who are out on dates prefer the man to pay for the dinner or to buy the drinks, and I think many men agree that that's appropriate. That's like social etiquette, but it is not social etiquette to trick a man into getting you pregnant and then forcing him to pay child support and taking advantage of his money. I think that's socially inappropriate.
But that's totally different topics.
I agree. I think we've found two situations that are similarly not connected, but have a small strain of connection, and then people will try to make it.
Right, exactly.
So let's hear the rest of the video.
It's almost done.
Just because you live in a big city and you're riding public transportation doesn't mean that it's okay for somebody to touch you. It's not just part of living in a city. It's wrong and it's illegal.
This guy just straight up grabbed my ass.
He pushes me against the wall and he grabs my breast.
The next thing I know, I feel a hand up my skirt.
I pushed him away. I said, what the hell do you think you're doing?
I pushed him away from me with all my force.
And he looks at me. He stares at me in the eye with this smirk.
And he looked at me and he smirked at me.
And he just sort of smiled smugly and walked away.
And I think that most women who've been assaulted know this look, which is the I'm getting off on you being uncomfortable.
Basically, like, I just did that to you, and I can, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Since this incident happened on the Metro, I honestly have not taken the Metro to that station. I find myself getting a lot more anxious on the Metro, being much more aware of my surroundings, and it's almost sad that I feel that burden, that the burden's on me to protect myself. It's just very unfortunate that me and so many other women have to go through their lives like that every single day.
So that's the end of it. That's the end of the video. And just like we were saying before, man, like, because first of all, the video's titled Street Harassment, Sidewalk, Sleazebags, and Metro Molesters, right? So if you want to talk about assault and men assaulting women, and because like this whole other like end of the video, they're talking about the guy grabbed my ass, he grabbed my breast, and all this other stuff. Let's talk about that then, and leave out all the other shit that you're talking about, this street harassment stuff, because you're doing a whole bunch of other topics that have nothing to do with that topic to try to support your annoyance of guys coming up to you in the street. Like, don't try to correlate that. You understand? If you wanna, I would have no problem if these women are saying, you know what, it's annoying for me sometimes to be in the street and a guy approaches me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she says it's annoying that a guy approaches me and I'm just annoyed by it, then fine. But to call it harassment and call it street harassment and then try to correlate this to, sexual assault is just like, are you serious? And again, if guys are not supposed to talk to you in the street or approach you, what do you have to replace that? You can't take something away without replacing it. You see what I'm saying?
So I think the real argument that you should be making is why this is not the same thing. Why one of these issues, the assault, is in fact an issue that should be addressed, whereas talking to women on the street, or even just trying to talk to women,
right,
in a way that's like leading to a sexual connection, is not an issue and shouldn't be made part of the issue.
Right. Right. Well, is there anything else we need to cover?
I think that
because
that men who get off, what did she say? Men who get off on women being uncomfortable. I think it exists. Or people who expose themselves in public.
Yeah.
Who it's like a turn on for
them. That's like a different thing.
I think that's a psychological issue.
Right.
I think anybody with that issue should be reported, should be seeing a therapist, or should be in a healthier psychological state to be in public.
Right.
And unfortunately, there's some people who are not psychologically healthy.
Right.
And the rest of us sometimes are exposed to that, and it's very unpleasant. But for the rest of us, especially the rest of us women, to understand and be reassured that it's not the same thing.
Right.
That men who are willing to approach you on the street are not. There's many more of those, and it's much more normal for a man to want to make a connection with you on the street than it is for someone to, do something that's socially very inappropriate and sexual.
Right. But also, too, like I was saying before, the only reason guys are even approaching women on the street is because, women don't approach men. So it has to happen. You can't get away from it. It has to happen.
Another issue. That needs to happen. And I think that men who... I don't know. I don't understand the psychology of enjoying exposing yourself in public, but I'm guessing that people who have that issue, and I think it's a psychological issue that's kind of gross, and I hate to sound judgmental, but I think it's...
What, to expose yourself and all that?
And to be excited about assaulting someone.
No, I mean, I understand. I'm just saying that bottom line, they need to stop with this whole street harassment and as it's like this negative thing for men to go up to you and say how are you, or you're beautiful or something. And then also
because that's not harassment,
right? But then also I still have not heard anyone say to a woman, that's kind of rude for you to tell someone to go to hell because they said something to you, or kind of rude for you to tell them to shut the fuck up when they were not being disrespectful to you, because they'll say, well, it's my body and you're taking ownership. I still don't even understand what the hell that means. I'm taking ownership of your body by telling you I think you look good. I don't understand. Like, I mean, I watch a Michael Bay movie or a Spike Lee movie and I say that movie's good. Do I own the movie now? Am I getting money off this movie? No, I'm just giving my opinion on the movie. You see what I'm saying? So how is that ownership of your body? And then also, the thing is too is that, like, it's something that women are going to have to learn how to deal with. I know it sounds like, you have to learn how to deal with that. That's part. It's like a celebrity.
Careful.
No.
Women have to learn how to deal with men speaking to them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But the molesting.
No, I'm not talking about the molesting. I'm talking about
else.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the whole quote unquote street harassment. I'm saying that women need to learn how to deal with that because that is part of life. You understand what I'm saying? It's like
not harassment. Just we need a different word.
That's what I'm saying because that's what I'm saying. It's not.
You're not being harassed.
What I'm trying to say is this: is that women need to learn how to accept that this is how it is because it's normal. That's all I'm trying to say. It's normal for a man to want to talk to you. That's all I'm trying to say about it.
And necessary.
Yes, and necessary because people need to procreate, because people need to get together and have kids and do all this other shit. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. So don't make a problem out of something that's normal. That's what I'm trying to say.
And not a problem.
Right. That's all I'm saying. So that's it, man. All right, we're done. And real quick, this is exactly why guys need to come to my damn seminar on August 31st. Yes, I'm plugging it. Go to my seminar, Manhood in the Game, August 31st. Click down below to get your tickets so that you can understand what's really going on in, society as far as pertaining to you being a man, dealing with society and dealing with women and all this other stuff. All right. So that's it. We're out of here. I'm out of here. Your boy, Mr. Lucario, the bad boy of the dating game. Peace. The truth is inside you.